So hi guys, this is the part 2 of our chat application. So in this part what we are going to we are going to see how we can use a flat list and a touchable opacity for this button, and we are going to use this vector icon to give like better icon to our applications, and we are going to learn how we can read or write from Firestore. So let's just quickly give me a overview of this view. So this is our main view, which is vertical, and it contains a flat list, and this custom message input that we are going to create as a component, and it is a horizontal view with with this border, and this is a text input, and this is a touchable opacity on which we can press, and inside that touchable opacity we have this vector icon. So first of all, what we are going to create two folders in our source directory. One is for screens and one is for components. So screen is like a whole screen of our application, as component are the small part of our application which we want to use, like reuse somewhere else also, like the sending message at the bottom that you have seen is a component. So in this screen we are going to create a chat screen, and in the component we are going to create a message component. So let's start by deleting all of this code from our app.js, because our app.js should look clean. So we are just going to delete all of this from here, and this unused imports from here also, and we are going to return our chat screen that would be automatically imported. So actually we need to first export it from there, so let's just import it by manually. Import screen from /screens/ chat screen, and we are going to export it. We are going to return this chat screen from here. So our app.js is complete. Now we are going to create a similar screen that we have created in app.js in chat screen. So let's just skip that part. So now we are having some of the import that we are going to use, and we are having this import from reactnative firebase /firestore, and we are having a normal chat screen with a single view that is having a style as style.screen. So let's give some style to this screen. Flex equal to 1 will give it a full screen. We are going to have justify content equal to flex end, so that all the content will come to bottom of our view, and we are going to align items to flex start, so that all of the content, that is all of our message, should come to the left part of our screen. And then we are going to give it a padding of 5, so that all of our content will be this distance away from the border of our screen. So let's just install some of the packages that we are going to use in our application. One of that is React Native Vector Icons that provide us a lot of icons for our application, and second one is prop type that is used for prop validation in JavaScript. If you are not using eslint, then you do not need to use prop type also, because it will not give you any kind of error in your eslint, so you can skip that part. So let's just start by installing a React Native vector icon using yarn add React Native vector icons. So after installing React Native vector icons, we need to manually link it on our Android folder also. So we just need to copy this line from its GitHub, and we just need to copy this and paste it in Android slash app slash build.gradle. So we will just go to Android app and its build.gradle, and we are just going to paste it at the end of our file. And now we are going to install prop types, so you can skip this part also. So now we have imported some of the imports. So this one is normal. Now we are having this touchable opacity, which can be used to make anything touchable. Then we have this prop types, which you can ignore, and then we have this icon from React Native vector icons / ionicons. If you want to browse these ionicons, you can go to its site and you can search it here. So we are going to use like a submit button from here. So let's just start by returning a view. We are going to return a view from here, and this view, the style of this view would be style equal to styles dot message input container, let's say, and this view would contain another view which would be our text input container. So let's give it a style as text input container, and this text input container will contain a text input with some value, let's say empty for now, and placeholder we would be giving type message. And now after this view, we are having our touchable opacity. We are having this touchable opacity, and anything inside this touchable opacity would be touchable. So we are going to give an icon here, and this icon's name would be send. That this name would define which icon we are using. So you can just go to that website and search for the icon. Its size would be 25, and let's say its color would be black. And let's just give some style to this touchable opacities also. So style would be styles dot button container, and we need to give on press method to this also. So let's just give an empty function for now, and let's save this thing. And now let's define a style sheet for all of the thing that we are defined. So first thing we need to define is message input. So let's just copy it from here. So our message inputs flex direction would be row, because we are having a horizontal view. Then we are giving it a width of 100%, so that it will cover all of the width. We are giving it a height of 50, which I think it is good, and we are going to align items to center because its cross axis is vertical, so items would be aligned vertical into the center. Then we are going to give it a border. So border width will be 1, and let's give it a border color equal to light gray, and then we are giving it a border radius so that it would be curved from the corners equal to 25, which is half of this 50, so that it will make a perfect circle. Now our next one is text input container. So for that one we are giving it a flex equal to 1, so that what it will do, it will cover the maximum length it can cover on its main axis, that is horizontal direction. So in horizontal direction we have this text input container and we have this touchable opacity. So whatever left after this touchable opacity would be covered by this text input container, and we are giving it a margin horizontal of, let's say, 10. And now we need to define our this button container also. So this button container would be circle. So let's just give it a background color first. So we are going to give it a background color of light blue, and let's give it a padding of 10. So and then border radius again 25, because we have given it a size of 25, so its whole height would be equal to 25 plus 25 equal to 50, and then we are going to give it a border radius of 25. So let's just save this, all of this thing, and let's just import it in our chat screen. So we are going to have a message input from here that would be imported from this component slash message input. So let's just save all of these, and so now our application is successfully running in our emulator, and you can see we have this beautiful text input here. But whenever we are typing something, it is not reflecting because we are not changing its value from here. We are just setting its value equal to this empty string, so we need to control its state also. So let's just start with that things. So for controlling the state, we are going to use the use state hook. And then we are going to use this variable message as our value. And then we are going to give it a function of on change text, and we are going to direct it to our function that would handle our change in our text. And let's just create this function. So what it will do, it will set our message as the value it is getting. And let's just create one another function for submitting our value. Wherever he will click on this send button or the tick button of Android's keyboard, then this function would be called submit message handler. And from here we will return our value to our parent component. So after returning the value, so return value, and after returning the value we are going to clear that input that user have given. So we are going to set message as again empty string. So for doing that, what we are going to do, we are going to use this property on submit editing, and then we are going to give it as submit message handler. And again in this on press method also we are going to give it submit message handler, so that both of this will work similarly. So now we need to create a callback method that would be called whenever we submit a message. So let's user need to pass that callback method to this component, and let's name that as on press send. That is, whenever a user press send, this function would be called, that would be defined in its parent component. So when we submit when we click on this submit, if our like message is not null. If our message is not null, then we are going to then only we are going to return the values. So we will call this function on press send, and we will call this message from here, and after that we are going to set our message as like empty string. So now if you are not using eslint, this error is caused by eslint react prop types that says that we need to define whatever prop you are using on that component. So if you are not using eslint, you will not be having this error, and you can skip the next part of this video. Message input dot prop types, this p should be small, prop types equal to we are going to give it object that will contain all of these argument from here. Then we are going to copy this argument for here, and then we are going to define its type. So it is a function that we are going to pass. So we are going to define its type at prop type dot function. So now our error has been gone, and this file has been completed. So let's just save this from here. So now we are in our ChatScreen file where we have used this message input, and one thing we need to define here is on press send. So it will be called, and it will give a prop that would be the value of that message. So let's say we are giving it a message, and let's just write it in our console for now. Console.log message, and let's just test these things out. So you need to save this, and you need to reload the application. So now we can write here whatever we want, and whenever we will press on this submit button, it would be here, it would be printed here. If you are learning something from my video, then don't forget to subscribe, as I can see more than 90% of my viewer has not subscribed to my channel. If you just take a minute and subscribe to the channel, it will mean me a lot. So let's just delete this console log thing and create a new method that would be called send message handler, and let's just define it here as a empty function for now. So now we need to send this message to our Firebase, and our data structure is looking like this. This collection would be like collection of chat rooms, and our first chat room is named as YouTube chat room, and it will contain some documents whose name would be like the date it is, date and time it is created, and that document will contain for now only message. But we will go further in this tutorial, and we are going to add some more things about this document, like which user have sent that message and all of that thing. So for now it is having just one property as message. So if the message is not empty, then we are going to store it in our Firestore, and then we are going to a collection whose name is like YouTube chat room, and then we are going to create a doc there, and whose doc's ID would be our date. If we do not create some ID for our doc, then the Firebase would create an key by itself, random key by itself, and then our messages would not be like sorted properly. So that's why we are going to use the date as our key. So if you do not want to give the key, instead of dot set, you can use dot add. That will add a document to our Firebase. So for now we are going to create a new doc with this key as date, and then we are going to convert it to a string, and then we are going to set its value as our object with message equal to our message that we are receiving in this a function. So now our uploading process is complete. Let's just try to save it and run it in our emulator. So now when we add something here like I am Abhishek Patil, so it would be reflected in this database. So here a node has been created with a message I am Abhishek Patil, and let's say subscribe to Spider Monkey. So it would be created with a new node. So you can see all the messages are like sorted by their time of sending. So now we need to reflect all of these messages to our flat list. So let's just start by creating our flat list, and our flat list will contain a component that would show us a message like in WhatsApp and something else. So first of all, what we are going to create a message component that will show us a message. So for creating a component, we are going to this component folder and we are going to create a file that would be named as message.js, and let's just import all of the things. So now we have imported all of these things, and this message component will take a prop as message that would be shown in this component. And if you are not following eslint, then you can skip this message.prop type with p small, and it would have a object that will define all this message prop as prop types dot string. And now we need to return a view from here. So we are going to return a view from here that will contain a text whose value is this message, and we are going to give some style to both of them. So let's give it a style as styles dot message container, and let's just give it a style as style dot text. And now let's just define this style at the bottom. So we have this message container and we have this text. So for text we have only one style, that is we are going to give it a color as light black, and for message container we are having a width of 80%, so that it will cover the 80% of the width of our screen. Then we are going to give it a height of 40, and our message will contain borders from top left, top right, and bottom right, and it will have a like pointed corner at bottom left. So let's give that border accordingly. Border top and radius equal to 10, and we are going to copy this thing 3 times. So we are having border top start radius also, and we are going to have border bottom and radius also, and we are going to give it a justify content to center, and after that we are giving it a padding of 10 and a background color as bisque. So let's just save all of these things. Our message component is ready now, and let's just try to use it in our file. So if you are going to use message directly, then you need to first we need to first import this message, Oh, let's see if it is exported or not. Yes, it is exported. And now we are going to go in this chat screen. Let's just copy this thing from here, paste it here, and let's just delete this input thing. And now we can use our message, and we need to give it a property as message. So let's give it as this is a dummy message, and let's just save all of this thing. So now you can see we are having this message here, and this is a dummy message. So in this way we are going to create a whole flat list of these messages that would contain this message inside that. So before creating a flat list, we need to fetch our data from Firebase. So for doing that, what we are going to do, we are going to create a constant messages set messages equal to use state, and we are initializing this as an empty list, and then we are going to fetch the data to this message constant in our use effect hook. And it would run only once, and then we are going to subscribe to that updates. And so now we are going to create a variable unsubscribe that would be written from this Firestore to unsubscribe from this snapshot. Firestore dot our collection name is YouTube chat room, and then we are going to take a snapshot of this. So on snapshot will return us a constant return us our object that would be used to unsubscribe from these updates. Okay, so on the return function we are going to call this unsubscribe method, so that we will unsubscribe from here whenever our components unmounts. You can see my previous videos also on this topic. And this on snapshot will give us a query data. You can also apply some filters here on collection also and some doc also, so that's why it is called query data. You can name it something else also. So now we have got our query data, or we can say it query snapshot. And what we are going to do with this, we are going to create a constant temporary constant as message. So this message would not be equal to this because it is local to this function. And now what we are going to do, we are going to iterate over this query snapshot using for each method, because it is a list of objects, so we can use for each here. And our query snapshot will give us a data snapshot. And with the data snapshot, what we are going to do, we are going to push that data into our messages just push. And in that message we are going to give it a id as data snapshot dot id. This id would be equal to the id that we have set, that is new date, using that new date. And the value would be, and we are going to set a variable value that would be equal to data snapshot dot data. This data function would fetch data from the data snapshot, and then we are having a message key there in our Firestore. If you are confused, go back to the video and see the data structure that we have created in our Firestore. So now we have got this message list, and we are going to set our messages to this messages, so that this messages vector is this messages list of values is updated. And Yeah, now we have all our data. Now we are going to create a flat list using this data. So instead of this message, we are going to create a flat list, and this flat list would have our data, and for that we are going to give it this data, this message as our data. Then it will have a render item message that would be used to render item. So this the values from this data list would be one by one given to this render item, and this render item should return a view using that data, and that view would be shown in this list. So let's create a method for rendering that item. So let's name it as flat list item renderer, and we need to give it a property as inverted equal to true, so that all the data will start from the bottom and go till the top. So now we need to create this flat list item renderer. So it will have a prompt of item data. So item data will have some more things than data also. It will have, first of all, it will have the data of our item, then it will have some index of that item that would be rendered on our flat list, and some more data. So let's just create this, let's just return a view from here, and this view would have a message component here that we have created, and this message would be equal to our item data. Wait, item data dot item dot value. So for retrieving the item from item data, we just going to do item data dot item, and this item contains id and value. So we are going to retrieve a value from there which is equal to our message, and then we are going to give some style to its container also, and this style would be majorly containing our margin, because we need to show these messages in some distance. So we are going to give it a style as styles dot message container, and let's just define this style at the bottom. So we are going to give it a margin vertical equal to 2, let's say. And now we are going to give some styles to our flat list also. So let's just wrap this flat list inside another view. So we are going to have a view that will contain this flat list, and let's just give it a style as styles dot list container, and let's just define this style at the bottom. So its flex would be equal to 1, because it will cover all of the screen maximum as possible, and we are going to give it a width of 100%. So now our application is ready. So we are getting this data from like Firebase, and we are showing it here. So our data is now sorted in opposite direction that we wanted, but so for that we are going to reverse this message. So we are going to apply reverse function here. So this all data would be reverse if we now save this thing. So now it is coming in the right direction. Hi, this is the last message. So our data would be fetched after the first render, but before the first render we are having no data here. So for that we just need to give it some view that would show that the data is like loading or buffering. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to set a constant as loading, and set loading, and initialize is its value as true. So if the data is loading, then we are going to return an activity indicator here that would be wrapped inside a view, and let's say size is large, and we are going to give it we are going to center it. So let's create a style as styles.centered view, and let's just define this style at the bottom. We are going to give it a flex equal to 1, justify content equal to center, and align items equal to center. And in the else part, we are going to return this flat list. And whenever we are fetching this data, we are going to set this is loading, set loading equal to false. So now it is all okay. So let's just close this app so that you can see that activity indicator at the starting. So yeah, now we have fetched all the data from Firebase, and we have so today we have done successfully getting and posting data to the Firebase. Now our future plan is to create a like chat room, and we are going to create this message, some of the message to the right side that we are sending, like same as WhatsApp. And for now we are having just this chat screen. So instead of this, what we are going to have in future, we are going to have first screen that will contain like text input, and we are going to give a field for writing this chat room's name. So whenever two person write the same chat room's name, they can enter into like same chat room and read all the messages from there and write messages to there. And we are going to change the structure of this document also. We are going to add a field of user here so that we can determine if this message is sent by us or not. So, and for navigation we are going to use React navigation. So if you want to learn about React navigation, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.